something about it. You try to insinuate all these people looting Nigeria's money?
This is Nigeria Info, in the heart of Nigeria. 92.3. We are Nigeria Info.
Our freedom depends on our proactive responsibilities.
Let's talk, act, and be about development.
With one voice, our potential is realized. This is your number one news, talk, and sports radio station. 92.3 Nigeria Info. I am listening.
Information is a two-way thing. Nigeria Info, it's your turn. Let's talk.
And now, Hard Facts.
Hard Facts with Dio.
Welcome back. It is Hard Facts 90.3 Nigeria Info here in Port I'm Dio. 9 minutes gone past 5 p.m. Discussions continue. Appreciate you staying tuned. Well, the rains are here, and the rains are good. They're very much needed. As far as the cycle of life is concerned, without the rains, literally we would not be here. But as welcomed as the rains are, they do bring about a seeming unwelcome development, and that is they come with the floods. And whilst in some cases they could be preventable, in other cases they are inevitable. And considering the location and geography of River State and possibly some other states in the country, floods in certain communities or areas or parts of the state are somewhat inevitable. However, agencies of government periodically gave advance warnings and notifications to communities or states like River State or parts of River State that are most likely going to be affected by these floods, so that preparations or structures or systems can be put in place or steps taken to mitigate the impact of the floods on the people and the various communities. But what we have seen over the years is these warnings come, these notifications are given, but little or nothing is done to address this matter, to tackle it or mitigate the impact in the lives of the people and the various communities that are so affected. Well, once again, it's another year, and the rains are upon us once again, and the floods inevitably, expectedly, are here as well. Now, this was on our news quite recently, on Nigeria Info's news, following the predicted heavy flooding in 8 local government areas in River State. The paramount head of Ukpata Kingdom in Ekpe land, Eze Felix Otuwarikpo, says the traditional council has arranged 2 camps for flood victims. Let's hear what, once again, what His Royal Highness had to say about this development in his domain.
We have suffered greatly over these past few years. We don't understand why our people are treated differently. As a matter of fact, we have notified some schools to evacuate their students in some parts of their buildings to enable us prepare those places for those that will be affected by the flooding. We have 2 camps, one at Ahoda, one at Akenema, but they are not large enough to accommodate all the victims of the flood disaster.
Now, King Felix Otuwarikpo also made several appeals for persons responsible to look into this matter, and the local government areas predicted to experience heavy flooding this year include Ahoda East and West, Ogba, Egbema, Ndoni, Andoni, Abua, Odua, Port Harcourt City, Gokana, and Okrika. Well, I do hope whilst the regent of Ekpe Kingdom is doing what he can in spite of the situation that they're dealing with, there are concerns from other quarters as well in other communities as to what's going on as far as preparedness or state of preparedness, or if there's any preparedness at all. Joining me to discuss the situation in some other community as well in River State is Onem Okenya John. He's founder Engenni Development Support Forum. And good evening to you. You're welcome to Hard Facts.
Good evening, listeners. Thank you, Dio, for having me.
Right, you're welcome. Let's start. Engenni covers where exactly and is under what local government area?
Well, Engenni has over 20-something communities, and Engenni is in our West local government area.
All right, guys. So Engenni, Ahuda West Pandem is one of the local government areas identified to experience flooding in River State this year.
Yeah.
Has that been the case over the years, or is this year different from other years?
First, before I'll go directly to your question, Dayo, I must appreciate the king so far for the step taken. His gesture is.
What king are you referring to?
From the story you read.
Okay. All right.
His gesture was acutely insightful, and it's a wise one. In the sense that this is what we actually want the government to do, but due to the insensitive, on the part of the government, nothing of such has been done. And as a king,
we'll come to the rule of government in a moment. We'll get to that.
As a king, I think he has tried. I must commend him for that. Now back to the question on is there anything different, at this ground. Dayo.
I'm talking about the floods now. Has it been a regular occurrence in Ahuda East, right?
Yeah. Ahuda West.
Ahuda West, pardon me, and Engenni Kingdom. Have the floods been a regular occurrence, or is this year different?
Well, it has been predicted, and as it is, we are beginning to see some sign of, a rise in the water level.
What I'm asking is, has that been the case in previous years? Did you have floods in previous years?
Of course, you could vividly recall when I was here last year to also speak on this issue of flooding.
Okay, so let's talk about the situation. What is the situation right now in Ahuda West Engenni precisely?
Well, Dayo, the situation right now is, I would say, is a pathetic one, because the flood itself, the water level has started increasing, and because it has been predicted, and each year it has been predicted, it becomes a reality. And so right now we are beginning to see some sign of increase in the water level, and of course, since the rain is falling, the water level is increasing on a daily basis as it is. And I know that it's likely going to push us out of our houses. It's likely going to ravage our crops. The water is likely going, the flood is likely going to, cause waterborne disease and all of that as it has been happening.
Do you have any water bodies in your locality, maybe rivers or something?
Yes, of course. We have about 2. We have the Orashi River.
Okay.
The Orashi River. We also have the Taylor Creek, and some other creeks, along the Orashi River.
And the Orashi River and its other water bodies, I'm imagining that when the rains come, they overflow their banks. Do they contribute to the floods?
Of course, because the Orashi River has a tributaries to River Niger, which is a coastal, water. And you know that what is actually causing the overflow of water in this area is because when the water start increasing from River Niger, it spread gradually to Orashi River, since it has its tributaries, to the Orashi Rivers. And when it spread to the Orashi River, what happened is that the Orashi River in question can no longer accommodate the water because of the shallow nature of the Orashi River. Now, what we need at this time is for the Orashi River to be deepened by dredging it. Dayo, as I speak with you, there are some parts of the river, the Orashi River, that you can walk directly to the middle. You can walk directly to the middle. That tells you how the river is shallow. You understand? So that is one of the major causes of this flooding in that area. It's not only caused by this rainfall, but sometimes a dam can be opened in Cameroon and all of that, and the water will push to this area.
All right. I'd like you to. I know you gave some insight or an idea a while ago. But I'd like you to explain in some detail when the floods are at its peak. How does it affect the people of Engenni and those of Ahuda West in general?
Dayo, you actually feel for them in the sense that when the flood is at peak, one, the people will be pushed out of their houses. And the truth of the matter is that the government has never in any day, that is why I was even perturbed when you are talking about the gesture being done by His Royal Majesty. I was perturbed because...
Once again, we will get to government. I know you want us to get there in a hurry, but we will get there.
Definitely.
So let's talk about the impact on the people now when the floods it's not to speak.
Well, the impact on the people is severe. Our mainstay is basically famine. And once the flood comes, our crops are being ravaged. It is during this period that you know what is mosquito. In fact, you can't even stay because the water level will surround the buildings. And of course, not just that, what pains me most is that once it is this, once the flood has risen to some certain level, our schools are being forcefully closed. A situation whereby the children will no longer learn. A situation whereby some even lost their life because no place has been prepared for them to stay. And of course, you know that you can't tell somebody to leave his home without having any direction, because I know that is what most persons will say.
I was going to ask you that as well.
Yeah.
Why don't people just leave and go somewhere?
They can't just leave like the biblical Abraham, that God instructed to leave his father's land to a promised land. No, they can't just leave, because by leaving, where are you living to? Asking them to leave, where are they living to? You see, they can't just leave because no place has been prepared for them. Most of these people have a larger families, and if you ask them to leave without any provision, most of them have no money.
You said Engenni has about 20 communities.
Over 20 communities.
Could you list some of them, off the top of your head?
Okay, we have JK4, we have JK2, JK3, JK1, we have Akenema, we have Akioniso, we have Mbiama, we have Ishai, we have Akioglogbo, we have Okaki, we have Okparaki, we have Ikodi, we have Pumusha, we have Igovia, we have Udoda, and we have Ogbogolo. It's also part of the Engenni.
That's great. So what has been in the past and even now the intervention of government in Engenni or Hoda West to mitigate the impact of the flood on the people?
Well, Dayo, I must say that we are in an area where the government is insensitive on the plights of the people. What we see here is politicking. That is what we see. In 2018, similar thing happened. Nothing was done. And then people didn't receive anything from government, to be honest with you. At a point, the vice president came all the way from Abuja to sympathize with the people, and he said there was a promise he made that they are going to dredge Orashi River, and of course open up some canals in those areas, but nothing of such has been done. Now, in the aspect of relief materials, do you know that their relief material has always been a post-flood relief materials? Once the flood is over, that is when you will see, relief materials being given to some people. It becomes a political relief materials. It is when some parties, I'm not going to mention them here, has one activities or the other, that they will begin to share some relief materials with an inscription. So, as for government intervention, to be honest with you, nothing has been done in that regard. And let me also call on NDDC, Dayo. NDDC has not done enough for us. I am saying this in the sense that as a place that is part of Niger Delta, and such disaster has been reoccurring, NDDC has not deemed it necessary to do anything, to send anything. Now, I talked about an IDP camp. Do you know prior that NDDC can build a platform in each of the communities in Engenni Kingdom? Likewise, River State government, they can do it. They have the resources to do that. But nothing of such
how about
has been done.
How about the local government, the local government administration?
The local government administration, Dio, to be honest with you, some will say that due to the bureaucracy and all of that, that is the grammar they speak, bureaucracy and all of that, their hands are tight and all of that, we can't do much. But I am telling you that there are things that the local government can do. There are things that they can do, in as much as they can do more. But as it is, Dio, I have not even heard anything. Though in a bit, in course of my preparation for this interview, I got a call from a friend of mine who was telling me that the councillor representing Ward 4, which happens to be my ward, has moved a motion in their chamber, you know, in regards to this thing. But I'm not aware of, I don't actually know the content of the motion because I wasn't there. So I can't actually speak on that. But our councillor has started, you know, making some move for things like maybe mosquito nets to get to the people, things like rice and indomie and all of that to get to the people. But as for the local government, holistically, I must confess, I haven't heard anything, you know, in regards to the local government.
Please hold that thought. We have to go for a commercial break now. Headlines afterwards. We'll return in a moment. Conversation will continue. Please stay with us.
Keeping up with political issues and developments around you, only on Nigeria Info.
Headline News, Nigeria Info on
92.3.
Headline News.
Hello and thanks for staying tuned. Here are headlines. President Buhari sacks Minister of Agriculture Mohammed Nadnadan, his power counterpart Saleh Maman. Minister of Information and Culture Lai Mohammed threatens to show a red card to broadcast stations for breach of broadcast ethics. And warring cult groups in Andoni, River State embrace peace. OCJ Okocha calls for sanctioning of judges over conflicting court orders. A striking resident doctors say federal government has refused to pay their August salary. On the foreign scene, Japan holds Moderna's COVID-19 vaccine after foreign substance was found inside. And UK to give Afghans who work for them permanent residency. In business, NLC threatens strike over proposed increase in electricity tariffs. In entertainment, American superstar rapper Dart Baby remixed Wizkid's hit song Essence. In sports, Ronaldo says Ferguson key to his Man United return. And those are the headlines. Details at 6 p.m. Contact our newsroom on 0818 90017. For more stories, visit www.nigeriainfo.fm. Thanks for listening. I'm Adedayo Elusakin. Good evening.
Nigeria Info.
Welcome back. Hot Fox still 90.3 Nigeria Info and here in Port Harcourt. I'm down. River State's preparedness to tackle the floods, mitigate the impact on the people and the communities most affected. That's what we're discussing right now. The Engenni Kingdom example is what we're discussing right now. My guest, Onem Okenya John, is founder Engenni Development Support Forum. Onem, you're welcome to the show once again.
Thank you, Dayo, for having me.
So you were saying that no honorable or excellency even comes around to distribute something, share whatever it is, even if it's to point hand and say choi, nothing like that.
Well, to be honest with you, and I remain apolitical in my dealings, and most especially in this issue. The answer to your question is no one. And what surprises me is our own governor. I don't know our sin, the sin of Engenni people, against the governor of this state. He's somebody that I think I would say I love when it comes to politics. But to the issue of this flooding, I think he has failed, and he has failed woefully. I will say that without hiding my feelings. In 2018, when such a disaster occurred, we expected the governor to at least to have come and talk to the people, even if nothing was released, just the way he went as far as Benue to make some donation. But to be sincere and fair, the governor never showed up. What about our House of Rep members, the senators, the House of Assembly members? None showed up. That was then. Now, in 2020, when we also experienced such a, similar thing, we had also expected the governor to at least to come and say sorry. It's our law. To be sincere to you, Dio, he never showed up. Nothing was given to us. The only relief materials we received was, I think, was from NEMA. It was only NEMA that donated some relief materials, which they were even distributed after the flooding, not that moment when everybody was like, everywhere was tense and, as a result of the flooding. So government on its parts hasn't done anything. Intervention agencies hasn't done anything. The people of Engenni Kingdom has always been left to their fate. And I began to ask myself this question. What is our sin against the Nigerian state? Dayo, I must tell you something, and I must say this thing for free. Engenni are contributing hugely to the resources of the state, federal, and the local government. If I should mention the numbers of oil wells that we have, but when we talk about development of Engenni, the development of Engenni is nothing to write home about. Do you know that the Ejiro clan, where I come from, has no road? The only road that was shabbily constructed by NDDC, where some culverts, has no road and all of that. When this flood comes, it eroded everything, it washed off everything. In fact, a place like Oparaki has been cut off, if not of a man who volunteered and worked on that part of the road. No single government project in Engenni Kingdom. Nothing.
Yeah, the lines are open right now. I can take a call or two, possibly a couple, I suppose. Do call 0817 923 0002 or 0003 0817 923 0007. We are live on facebook.com/Nigeria Info PH. WhatsApp is on 0809 030 6416. Speaking of which, dredging of the Orashi River seems to be the solution, though can't engage, and that's the community due to what's involved. Remember, the Nigerian government, ably headed then by the Vice President, Professor Yemi Osinbajo, made a promise during his visit to Mbiama community to this effect. It's left for us now as the people of Engenni, through elites, to revisit the government to effect the promise. I think we can do it. It will take the Nigerian government. It won't take the Nigerian government too much to deliver this to us as a people. Matthew Ibube Jonathan said that. We got Prince on the line. Prince, you're welcome. Please go ahead.
Okay, good evening.
All right, go on.
Okay, my name is Prince Odin.
Prince, go straight to your comment or question, please.
From Jankrama community. Just a comment. Can I go ahead?
Go ahead, please.
Okay, Dayo, we are in pain. Serious pain. I'm calling from my hometown now, Jankrama, one of the flood impacted communities. We are into panic harvesting of our cassava prematurely right now. The pain I have is this. A year ago, there were promises, like our guest has said, your guest in the studio. They are coming to dredge your river Orashi. That we have not seen. We made a move to the National Assembly, and they said they have to do proper appropriation of funds to relevant committees that will take care of that. Over a year now, we've not heard anything from the National Assembly. We've called on our senator, we called on our House of Reps member, no succor, no message. Tayo, last time we complained, after the flood, a lot of reptiles in the community. We needed environmental issues to come in. In terms of fumigation, we did not see anything. Relief materials, we did not see much. What sin have we committed as Engenni people? Are they calling for the Eleme model? Eleme model that we have to block the east-west road and make vehicles impassable before they will come down? We have committed nothing. We are contributing so much in terms of oil and gas to the economic development of this nation. We are a small minority group, but then there is something we can do. And when we do that, I know that the security agencies will come in to arrest our youth. The poverty level in Engenni is so much. When it comes to voting during elections, the ballot box will get to every community in Engenni, the ballot box for people to vote. Now it's time for dividends of democracy. We are not seeing anything. People are moving out of the community on a daily basis. What did they want us to do? Promises have failed. And insecurity as a result of poverty.
Prince, you have to wrap it up now.
We are still depending on our traditional occupation of fishing and farming. Where do we take our people to?
Prince, great to hear from you. Thanks for your contribution, even though it's a somewhat sad one. And then, what is the fate of the people now, considering all that's transpired, and it's looking like we might witness a similar situation? Hopefully there's an intervention from government, hopefully. But if that intervention does not come, what's the fate of the people?
Well, the our feet, as our feet will in our hands, in the sense that we will go the way of the Eleme people. I know that some persons have started threatening that no one should protest in their community and all of that, still in Engenni kingdom and all of that. But I believe that it won't deter us if the government fails to do the needful. But I pray that they do the needful.
And the needful would be, as we wrap up the conversation.
1, the dredging of Rashi River. 2, they should endeavor to build an IDP camp. They should build a platform, a sizable platform that can contain all the people in each of the communities in Engenni. We are tired of these relief materials and all of that. What we need is a permanent solution to this, this predicament that we are facing today as a people. And so government should endeavor to please dredge Orashi River. If they fail to do so, we are going to take a drastic action, which I'm not going to say until then. Tayo.
We'll have to wrap it up on that note. Thanks for joining the conversation. My guest is Onem Okenya, John, founder Engenni Development Support Forum. Thank you for coming by.
Thank you, Dayo.
And the people of Engenni Kingdom the very best.
Thank you, Dayo. I must confess you guys are really doing a good job by amplifying the current predicament of the Engenni people, especially when it comes to this issue of a flood disaster. Thank you. God will richly bless you guys and your organization.
Wish you the best.
Thank you.
Got a commercial break. We've got a commercial break coming up. The major news support the hour at 6 p.m. I'll be back after that for open season. Do please stay with us.